Alright, man. March 2023 Blu-rays here. We're going to start off over in the UK on March 6th with Radiant's film title. We have Todd Solondz's 1995 film, Welcome to the Dollhouse.
Don, let me put it to you straight. We're not here to get you. But you've got to understand, you're in junior high now. This goes in the computer, on your record.
Hey, Weena, what are you looking at?
Nothing.
You didn't come in here to wash your hands.
Yes, I did.
Hi, Dawn. We were just wondering, are you a lesbian?
Brandon,
I believe making its Blu-ray debut. Some of Todd Solondz's earlier work hasn't been, I think, has been out of print or has been a little trickier to find. Like Happiness, for example, has had a DVD, but is currently out of print. Although if you do have DVD Netflix, you can get it through there. Welcome to the Dollhouse is a very good coming-of-age film. It's got that tint of Todd Solondz's mean-spirited streak at times, but not as mean-spirited as maybe some of his other work. This is a really exceptional film for sure. We'll be importing this one. As well from Third Window Films, we're getting Electric Dragon 80,000 Volts. I saw this once a little while ago. It's been some time. I remember thinking this was a really energetic, just real wild film, man. This is one that I would assume that a company like Error 4444 would pick up for a US release. But either way, that's one you want to keep an eye out on. Because I think the director's one of his other films is getting released this month as well. What the hell's his name? Sogo Ishii. His film Punk Samurai Slashdown, I believe, is getting a Blu-ray as well. God, my throat is dry. Oh, Blu-ray. God, this website, man, I tell you. Let's see here. On that day as well, looks like, also another Radiance film title, Fill Her Up with Super from 1976. I'm not familiar with this one. This and Welcome to the Dollhouse are both UK exclusives. Only some of the Radiance films titles have come to the US. Like I think Miami Blues just came out solely in the UK. I don't know what their next US release is though. But either way, I did pick up A Woman Kills, which I haven't had an opportunity to watch yet. So I'm really looking forward to going into that, and I have to grab the other U.S. titles as well. Let's see here. So we're going to jump to the U.S. on March 7th. Air Force One coming to 4K. I think that might be a steel. I think this and The Mask of Zorro on 4K are both steelbooks. They look like it's. Yeah, it looks like it's the case for both those. Both those are getting 4K steelbooks from Sony Pictures. And Mildred Pierce is getting a 4K upgrade from Criterion as well. At least I'm pretty sure it is an upgrade. I'm pretty sure this got released before from them. I'm looking here as well. Now, here's the peculiar thing, man, is that I'm seeing here. So we had the Rocky Collection 1 through 4 come out last month in February, and now I see that. I don't know if this is a steelbook or not, but Rocky 2 in 4K is popping up here. Yeah, Best Buy exclusive steelbook. And I think when I was scrolling through, man, they're only doing one of those a week. So it's very peculiar what that's all about. Also, I do have to go back on my word, actually, as I scroll down. It looks like Fill Her Up with Super is also getting a US Blu-ray as well. Presumably from Radiance. Yes, that's right. From Radiance as well. The House That Screams is getting an Arrow Blu-ray. I believe this previously was a Shout Factory or a Scream Factory Blu-ray. I think this is a Hammer film, but I've not seen this one. Let's see, on this day, Asphalt from 1929, a Kino classic title coming. I'm glad that I did look through. We are getting a decent amount of silent films this month. It's great to see Kino Classics still doing a lot of that, primarily what they were originally doing. The Studio Classics is great and all, but, a lot of that silent stuff I find far more interesting. Let's see, our standard edition for The Running Man is coming as well. This got a 4K about a month or two ago. And let's see here. So that'll be coming on the 7th for that. Let's see. Jumping back over into the UK. So, okay, Punk Samurai is getting a Blu-ray from, I imagine, Third Window as well. So, not seen this one. From his work, I've only seen Electric Dragon, 80,000 Volts. And really, like I said before, I really enjoyed that. So I'm kind of interested in this one, see how his other work fares. If it's more, it looks to be in similar vein and sort of style to that, to this very kind of hyper energetic film, but I can't say for sure. Like what I thought was so cool about Shinya Tsukamoto's work is that he does, he comes out of the gate with, Adventures of Denshu Kozo and, obviously Tetsuo and all that. But the variety of films that he did, just the interesting, cool work that he did, like Snake of June and Gemini and what the hell was that one? God, I'm going to blank on the name of this one. The one that was the guy who was working as a doctor it was a person that he knew, or I think he was in medical school, and it was a person that he knew that he had to do an autopsy on. Whatever the hell the name of that film was. Oh man, but that one was really fantastic too. But either way, on this day, The Virgin Suicide is coming to 4K from Studio Canal.
What we have here is a dreamer, someone completely out of touch with reality.
I'm gonna ask you out.
Bad chance.
Lux, please put your shit on this instant.
Are you an aviation enthusiast?
I don't know if I'd call myself an enthusiast, but
Do you like to wrestle?
Now, this already has a US 4K from Criterion, and I imagine that it's just the same transfer on this. I really don't know. I mean, if it's Studio Canal, I'm a little more I have a little more confidence if it's one of their transfers, because all their transfers have been solid, man. And a lot of times, a lot of companies will source from them for the 4Ks. So that's one to keep an eye out on if you don't already have the 4K Criterion. I have the regular Blu-ray of this. I'm a big fan of this film. This is Sofia Coppola's debut film from 1999, heavily inspired by Peter Weir's Picnic at Hanging Rock, one of my all-time favorite films. Actually, that just got announced for 4K. Recently, but big fan of this film. I already have the Blu-ray of this, so I'm not going to be upgrading to either of them, but worth checking out if you haven't already. Let's see here. Looks like a lot of stuff that's already available in the US. I don't know if these are reissues or what, but Magnificent Obsession and All That Heaven Allows, coming from Criterion. I imagine these already had releases there before, but not sure, man. Back in the US on March 14th, a couple 4K upgrades here. Shout Select is putting out Streets of Fire on 4K. Not seen this one, but it's one that's always been on my radar, and I'm really keen on checking this one out, especially with the 4K coming. Let's see, The Core is getting a 4K upgrade, I think just from Paramount, man. Not seen this one. This is, I don't know why I always associate this with, as being a 90s film, but this says 2003. It's weird, man. So I imagine, okay, so Rocky 3 is here, so I imagine the first Rocky was out the previous week on 4K and Steelbook. I mean, I'm not going to look back, but I'm just curious about that. Razorback from 1984. This got remade a couple years ago. What the hell is the name of that movie? Boar, I think it was called. I only ever saw this film once, man. I remember thinking it was actually very enjoyable. I remember liking this more than the remake, which when I initially saw it wasn't familiar with this film. But this is coming from Shout Factory or Scream Factory. So I know their announcements have been kind of iffy lately, but this was actually a pretty cool announcement to get from them. As well as from Synapse, this looks like just a standard edition of their Phenomena 4K, Dario Argento's 1985 film.
Have you any idea why they behave like that? Never done this before.
It's probably because of me. I guess they sense the mood I'm in.
See, he's not afraid of you. He won't do that for me. Ask him to lead you where the dead bodies are hidden, and he'll lead you. That flag is your magic wand.
One of my favorites of his work. I already have the standard blue of this, but I could see myself definitely upgrading to the 4K of this, because, I mean, a lot of the visuals in the film is very colorful, very beautiful looking, man. I love that sequence in the film when Jennifer Connelly is in, like, the bushes and there's all the bugs flying around, man. It's a great film. An acquaintance of mine was talking about the 4K that he got recently, and I think it has all three cuts on it, the international, the I think Italian one to my knowledge, and then Creepers, which was the American one that was only about 80 minutes or so. But the problem with some of those ones is that it's a little trickier to upgrade to 4K if the release I already have is good and it's too expensive, man. Like I never upgraded Tenebrae because I got that Steelbook. It looks fine to me, man. If I can find it for a decent price, which I think it actually was only like $20. So who knows, man? Not me. Let's see here. I'm glad to see that Warner Archive are still putting out a pretty steady flow of titles, man. I think there was some doubt as to whether or not they're going to continue, and I don't know what the updates of that have been, but titles I didn't mention previously that are coming out, on March 7th was Camille from 1936. It looks like that's on that day. And then on March 14th, we're getting Flamingo Road with Joan Crawford and Confessions of a Nazi Spy with, looks like, Edward G. Robinson, I believe. I've not seen that. As well as The Prince and the Showgirl from 1957 with Marilyn Monroe and Laurence Olivier. On this day as well. More of the Kino classics. Not seen these two, but again, these are just anytime they're putting out any of these silent films I've not heard of, I'm pretty much jumps to one that I'm very eager to pick up. So you have The Wildcat from 1921 and Samuran from 1920. Not familiar with either of those, man. All right, so jumping back into the UK on March 20th, I don't know if this is a reissue or not. You know, I can't tell anymore what gets reissued and what doesn't. Is The Man Who Fell to Earth in 4K, Nicholas Roeg's 1976 film starring David Bowie. Very interesting film. I think this has a 4K in the US, but don't quote me on that. This used to have a Criterion DVD, and then someone else put it on Blu-ray, and maybe it doesn't have a 4K. I don't know, but it's a very cool film. I think it's one that I didn't know how to approach it at first, but once you kind of just, really kind of allow the film to, actually, the sound's my phone. Once you allow the film to kind of just vibe with you, if you will, you get a very interesting experience that's more about the experience than a linear story, man. Very cool film. Big fan of Nicholas Roeg's work. On this day as well, In the Line of Duty 3 and 4. Not seen these ones, but these are coming from Eureka. Looks like we're getting some standard editions from Indicator. We got The Beast Must Die, Devil in a Blue Dress, The Phantom of the Monastery, The Devil's Men, and Corruption. Oh, as well as La Llorona and I, Monster. Diabolic just had a sale not too long ago on some Indicator titles. I ended up picking up that Stanley Long's Adventures box set, which I haven't watched yet. But don't be sleeping on it, man. They're putting out some great stuff with probably the best releases that a lot of these titles are going to get. I mean, for example, Devil in a Blue Dress. I think that may have gotten a 4K from Criterion, but if it didn't, then I would have been on that Indicator release, much more than the Criterion release. Not throwing any shade to Criterion, but I just think Indicator do better work for their titles, at least as of late, have been doing better work. So coming back into the U.S. again from Paramount, getting Wes Craven's Red Eye in 4K from 2005 with Rachel McAdams and Cillian Murphy. Interesting thriller set on a plane. Rachel McAdams is being, I can't remember if she's being held hostage on the plane by Cillian Murphy, or the details are a little bit fuzzy on this. I think I've only ever seen this film twice, and one of which was in the cinema, but I remember it being at least an interesting later work from Wes Craven. Some of his later work is kind of a hit or miss, but I think this is one that I remember being pretty decent. As well in Criterion, David Lynch's Inland Empire is getting its long-awaited Blu-ray. This was, I think, semi-confirmed a little while ago. And now, I don't know if this is true or not, but somebody said that because of the way that this film was shot, which is like this low quality, like really just not good-looking digital, they had to transfer that to actual film stock and then do like a restoration from there. I don't know how true that is, and I may be messing with the details, but that's a very interesting way of doing it to get this film out. Because at this point, I feel like all they would need, I'm trying to think what titles they aren't available in the U.S. on Blu-ray of The Straight Story, I think probably might be the only one, but that has an imprint Blu-ray, so if you're trying to complete your collection, there you go. Maybe there's others I can't think of them right now, but Inland Empire. I'm admittedly not a fan of the film, but I know a lot of people are really hot on this, and they really seem to enjoy it. So that's cool. So at least it's getting a release. Dragon Slayer is getting a 4K and a standard release. I got this mixed up with Dragonheart, man. I have not seen this one. Dr. Giggles is coming from Scream Factory. Now, is this a Wes Craven film too? I've not seen this one, man. I've always remember that cover art. but I don't know who directed this. Maybe, you know, okay, no, it's not Wes Craven, it's Manny Koto. I'm thinking of, I don't know what the hell I'm thinking of, man. Do you guys remember that box set that was out like a while ago? It was like 2007 or 8. It was like this big box set that had, I think, like Dr. Giggles, and I think it had, oh gosh, man, what the hell was that? Yeah, I totally drawing a blank on that one. Jeez Louise, man. Rocky 4 getting a 4K steelbook. Let's see here. Critical Condition, 1987, Richard Pryor film coming from Shout Factory, actually. Actually, not a bad film, man. A film that I've seen twice by accident. I hadn't thought I had seen it, but then I started watching it, and halfway through I was like, oh, I've seen this film. Pretty interesting film, Richard Pryor. I don't remember the exact circumstances, but he has to fake being a doctor I think has to hide out, and the hospital loses power. So, you know, it's not one of his better films, but it is funny. I remember enjoying it. So, I mean, if you're a big Richard Pryor fan like myself, then it is worth watching as well. I do recommend as well, what the hell's the name of that film? My mind is out of blank today. What is it? Bustin' Loose, I think Kino put out. I really like that film. It's a interesting tonal film with Richard Pryor. Let's see, jumping back to the UK, wrapping up towards the end of the month here. March 27th, Martin got delayed from Second Sight. That 4K will now be coming out at the end of the month, but it's all good. Just the fact it's coming at all is great. Richard Linklater's Boyhood is getting a 4K from Arrow, as well as a standard edition. This has a Criterion in the United States, but not a 4K. Not a fan of the film, but again, like Inland Empire, you know, this is one that people really seem to have enjoyed, so that is cool. And, you know, I mean, when it comes to, I don't even really like saying that you don't like a film by that, because I don't want to disregard the work of David Lynch or Richard Linklater, two of my favorite filmmakers. It's just their later works just sometimes don't, or I guess in this case, you know. Oh wait, no, this wasn't his last one. What the hell did he do since? He did what Everybody Wants Some, Where Do You Go, Bernadette? Was his Last Flag Flying before or after this, man? Gosh, I don't remember. And they did Apollo 10.5. So, all right. Well, I guess the point I had is kind of moot. But either way, that's there. Some more titles coming from Indicator. Not familiar with these, but these look real cool, man. State of the Union from 1948, Broken Lullaby from 1932. Was that Ernest Lubitsch, I think? Bluebeard's Eighth Wife from 1938, and The Kiss Before the Mirror in 1933. So very cool stuff in that regard, man. Let's see, Kamikaze Hearts is coming from the BFI. I think if you listen to the last episode, man, I was talking about some of the BFI releases. This one just popped up, and that cover is very intriguing, but I am not familiar with that, so I will have to keep an eye out for that. I've really been wanting to collect more of BFI's Blu-rays, because I don't even know if I have. I think I have Deep End, and I got the Kenneth Anger collection coming in the mail. That might be it for what I have from them. But either way, I definitely want to keep an eye on that, man. Go to Orbit DVD's website. They got a whole section for their titles there, man. Some real cool stuff. Real cool films I've already seen, but some what looks to be good releases. So that's it for the UK. So jumping back to the US yet again, on March 28th, some of the Vinegar Syndrome titles are getting their street date. So Flesh and Fantasy from 1943, which was a January release, but is now getting just a regular release, as well as Kuruku, Beast of the Amazon. You know, if I had more, this is from 1956, if I had more time for 1956 and they did that list, I probably would have watched this, man. This title sounded familiar. If I don't know, I mean, I can't imagine it would be making the list, but, you know, it still would have been interesting to watch. Severin's The 5 Days, or Dario Argento's The 5 Days on 4K is getting a standard release as well. I didn't pick this up originally because, man, Severin, I like what they do, but man, they got to chill with some of those prices, man. Like, I haven't picked up that Four Flies and Grey Velvet 4K. You know, I mean, it's a film I like, but man, they were charging some like $50 for that. I'm like, what the hell are you guys smoking, man? Get out of here with that nonsense. Scream Factory is upgrading The Exorcist 3 in 4K. This includes the theatrical and director's cut Legion. I have a love-hate relationship with this film. I've gone from thinking it's very good to not very good, and now I'm out of thinking it's good again. I'm not quite in the, I don't know if this is, I've heard people call this like one of the best horror sequels. I don't know about that, man. It's a good film, man. It's an interesting film. But it is good, man. I don't want to be trashing it or anything like that. You know, in a weird way, I even like The Exorcist 2 to an extent because it's such a strange film and it does so many weird experimental things and it's just totally off the walls, man. I mean, I look at I look at 2 and 3 the way I look at like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 and 3. You know, I like both those films, but I don't really even connect those to the first one much in the same way of Exorcist 2 and 3 because they're just, I mean, The Exorcist is just a beast in and of itself, man. It's like you can't really do a follow-up to that. And I know, I think what was I think the book Legion was connected to it somehow, or maybe it was a sequel. I have no idea, honestly. But either way, that's coming. From Shout, Factory Wanted is coming to 4K. Been noticing they're doing like a lot of newer titles, man. They had Wrath of Man in 4K. They had Freaky in 4K. I mean, I guess this comparatively newer. This is 2008, and it's been a while since I've seen this film, man. I remember being kind of a joke, like everyone talking about the curving bullets thing. I mean, I remember this movie being total nonsense, but I'm not gonna pick this up, man. Who directed that film? There's a guy I actually liked who directed it. It was like Timur Beckman. What the hell was his name? I'm gonna see if I can try to pull it. Blu-ray site, man, is slower than molasses, man. Jeez Louise, it's like running on dial-up here, trying to load this page. God damn, man. So apologies for the language. My gosh, looks like I'm running on dial-up right here. You know what? I'm not even going to bother. This page ain't going to load. I'm trying to get back to the previous page. Holy moly, man. You guys didn't hear it, but while I had this pause for a second, the ad started blasting, man. Holy Jesus. As well from Scream Factory or Shout Factory. I don't know which is which, man. Who are doing what, but Dead Silence. It's coming to 4K. This is James Wan, and I don't know if Lee Whannell directed it as well, but this was their follow-up to Saw. And I saw this film one time when it came out. I remember, I think this was the first time I rented from the Redbox, man. I always remember Charlie Clouser's really solid score for the film. I remember, I don't know why, when I was in school, I had like the theme, I had like a piece of music on like an old iPod. For whatever reason, his scores have always stuck with me, man. I think he's a real talented composer, but vague interest in revisiting this, not totally. I remember not being too crazy about it, but then again, this is however many years later, man. So... let's see, the Severin Collection, Violent Streets, the Umberto Lenzi, Thomas Milan Collection of Almost Human, Syndicate Sadists, Freehand for a Tough Cop, The Cynic, the Rat, and the Fist, and Brothers Till We Die. An acquaintance of mine just talked about this on his YouTube channel, and he said that all of these have gotten previous releases. I know that Almost Human had who put that out? Scorpion? Or someone put that out, man. I have not seen any of these, man. I'm not the biggest Police Tetsu film guy. I have seen the tough ones like Grindhouse Releasing put out, and it's an interesting film, but you know I don't think they're just really not for me. But I mean, it was talking pretty highly on some of these films, so if I can find it for a decent price or during a sale, it's one thing. I do like Severin's box sets, but I just don't buy enough of them because it's a little pricey. Now, this one I think had a previous Blu-ray. I want to see if I can double check if the page will load. But from 1977, Black Sunday is getting a Blu-ray from Arrow. This did have an imprint Blu-ray. I don't know if it had a U.S. Blu-ray or not. I'm going to see if I can check that here. Man, I remember I started watching this film late one night, and I fell asleep 20 minutes in. It was late. I went to go watch it the next day, and it was already off the streaming service. I guess I caught it the last night, man. So I started watching it, and I never got to finish it. But, yeah, I guess I'll be grabbing this one if I can find it during probably the June sale. Or is it June or July? I always forget. I think it's July that they have their sale at Barnes & Noble along with Criterion. Let's see here if the page will load. My God, man, what is up with this website? All right, back to the website. The rest of the OCN titles that Vinegar Syndrome have been putting out are also getting released commercially on this day. The Hitman Heart documentary, Whodunit, Glow, The Son of the Stars. Let's see here. No longer with OCN, but... Party Girl from Fun City is getting a release. I got to pick that one up. I've heard mixed things about the film, but I'm kind of interested in that. I like 90s Parker Posey. I think she was doing a lot of interesting work. The name of the film I always blank on. It's her and Toni Collette, man. I always blank on the name of that film. Clock Watchers, I think it's called. I remember liking that film. I don't even know if it's 90s or not. Gorgeous, I guess, got delayed again. Jeez Louise, man. Rawhead Rex coming to 4K from Kino. People unfairly, dog on this movie. I think it's a fun movie. It's real cool. I really love the setting, like this Irish kind of landscape there. What's the term? It's like this countryside. It's the word I'm looking for. I like this film. It's cool. I'm not going to be upgrading. I already got the regular Blu-ray, but it is cool. All Quiet on the Western Front from 2022 is getting a 4K. Well, that's awesome, man. I don't know who's putting this out. This is MPI are doing this, man. That is cool. I've mentioned before that I get kind of frustrated with some of the streaming services not releasing a lot of their stuff on Blu-ray. I'm still waiting for Blu-rays of The Other Side of the Wind and Dolomite Is My Name, but All Quiet on the Western Front was one of the stronger films of 2022. Really like this one. I've not seen the original, and actually I almost watched it not too long ago. I don't know why I haven't, man, but this is one that, man, it's actually playing in the cinema soon, but it's going to be, during a time of the day I'm not going to be available, so I will have to just pick up this 4K when the opportunity comes. Oh my god, the website just crashed on me. Jeez Louise, man, I gotta pause this for 1 second. Alright, I finally loaded. I know it's going to sound like a second for you guys, but it's been about 30 seconds here or so. Jeez Louise, man. Knockabout coming to Arrow Video Blu-ray. I think this is Jackie Chan, and is Sammo Hung in this one? I don't know, man. I know that they were putting out. It was Arrow and I think 88 or Eureka. One of them was putting out a lot of Chan and Sammo Hung films, which is cool, man. I've not seen this one. From Criterion as well, one that a lot of people have been waiting for, from 1979, is Chilly Scenes of Winter.
What do you want?
What do I want? I want to marry Laura. That's what I want. I thought everybody knew that.
Charles loves Laura. Laura likes Charles.
I want to sleep with you.
Wait a minute.
Charles would marry Laura tomorrow.
Wait a minute.
But Laura's already married to a guy called Ox. Joan Nicklin Silver's Chilly Scenes of Winter.
Now I'm no longer alone.
A comedy about people trying to connect in a disconnected world.
I don't think you're that great. As a matter of fact, there's quite a few things about you that I don't like.
Yeah? Name one.
This previously had a Twilight Time Blu-ray, which I do have, and it's a film that I'm interested in watching again because I've seen this film twice now, and I'm not quite. There's something missing for me that I can't put my finger on. I'm okay with it, a very obnoxious, unlikable lead character, but I think there's some part of me, man, that just can't connect with the film. But it is a good film, man. It's this guy who's basically looking back on this relationship, played by what the hell's his name? Jeez Louise, man. My brain is not there today. John Hurt, that's what it was. And there's some really solid moments in the film. There's a good running joke where he's talking to this blind guy who runs this little food candy stand at his work. And it's an interesting film because John Hurt's character is he is pretty much the antagonist. He's very he can be manipulative. He's very he's just not really a good guy. So it's really not surprised he's bothering this girl, man. And I think it's one that I just got to come back to with time. Like I said, I've seen it twice now, and there's something about it that I can't totally connect to. But people have really been high on this film, and so I there's something that's got to be missing for me. I'm not going to force myself to like it. If I don't like it, I don't like it. But I do want to give this another opportunity. Won't be upgrading my Twilight Time release. I have no reason to, but it is there at least because that one is out of print now. So it's going to be. I'd love to see some of those out of print Twilight Time titles get Blu-rays. You guys ever seen the movie Rapture? Gosh, man, they should put that on Criterion. What a great film that no one talks about. Let's see here on this day, wrapping it up, looking at some other titles here, some new releases. Let's see. On March 29th from Cauldron, they're putting out City of the Living Dead on 4K from Lucio Fulci. And, man, they're charging $50 too for this release. What is going on with these prices, man? Jeez Louise. It's wild as hell, man. I already got that Arrow UK set. That's a great set right there. I got no need to upgrade for that. Buddy of mine said he already pre-ordered the 4K, so I'm curious to see how that looks. I like Cauldron's work, man. I think they do good work. I just can't justify some of these prices, man. It's you can only spend so much a week on entertainment, and you can only do so much. This one, geez, it's supposed to come out February on March 31st from Mondo Macabro. God, I cannot speak today. Mondo Macabro is Dr. Caligari in 4K from 1989. I had this pre-ordered, and it'll show up when it shows up, man. The trailer for this film looked wild. I'm totally interested, but it's just a matter of whenever it will show up. So that's March. A bit of a slower month, but that is a-okay with me because it gives me an opportunity to pick up some other titles that I hadn't previously picked up. So that's all I got, man. So let's see, make sure I don't miss anything here I want to talk about. Nah, I'm all good. All right, thank you guys.